Hey guys, I'm Robin Rosado with Top Speed Golf. I've got a great video for you today. One of my in-person students who did an awesome job gaining some consistency in her golf swing. So let's go take a look and see how she did it. All right guys, so consistency. I know that's one thing that pretty much everybody wants to achieve in their golf swing. So let's first actually look at her swing right now and just see what's going on. So as you can see in her swing, you're gonna notice that her path is going to be moving to the left. So an over the top motion, a very common thing that we see. And also we're going to notice, which we're going to talk about today, is we're going to notice her first move on the down in her downswing. If you notice, this buttoning club is pointing just in front of my feet, and that's what's actually going on in her swing. So that's steep. So her initial move is steep. For her, she's actually moving and swinging to the left over the top. Now, this isn't just a common thing we see for just beginners or your average golfer. This is a common thing that we see with even good players. Initial move is steep down to the ball, then we're dropping it back down on plane, and then we're having to adjust the club face down the golf ball. Again, both moves are leading to inconsistent shots because you rely so much on the timing of your hands right down that golf ball. It's really, really hard to gain some consistency. So let's go talk about what we did, the drills we worked on to help her shallow the club early in the downswing. All right guys, let's actually talk about the common cause that we see that's getting this club too steep in the initial move in the downswing. So what's happening is this trail arm, for me it's my right arm, it's starting to push. My first move pushing this way. As you can see, if I'm pushing the club this way, it's also getting my path to go left. So that's kind of what's happening with you over to the toppers. Now, for good players who drop it back down, initial push this way, then I kind of feel that and I go, okay, this isn't good. So then I'm going to try to drop it down below back on plane. And for me, at least my common miss is going to be out there to the right. So what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about both arms, not just our trail arm, but also our leading arm as well. So in this first part, I'm talking about my left arm here. As we start our downswing, what we're going to try to get the feeling of is we want to get this club to get on plane. We want this club to shallow out. And if you notice right here, if I draw a laser right now, this buttoning club is pointed outside of this golf ball. And that's going to be one of your checkpoints there. When you're first doing this, we want to get this buttoning club to point outside of that golf ball. Now for this trail arm, the feeling I want you to have is your first move in the downswing with your arms. Now don't forget, our downswing does start with our lower body leading the swing. But the first move I want you to feel is the motion of turning the doorknob. I'm turning this doorknob to the right here. So if you notice, my whole forearm, not just my hands, my whole forearm here is turning, and maybe I'm trying to get this butt in the club here to point, let's say at a 2:30 position on the clock. So this is my clock here, 12 o'clock being right here. I'm looking at the clock, it's about 2:30 right now. So I'm getting this first initial move of my lead arm, my left arm, to turn the doorknob. Or another good feeling for you guys, maybe it's not the forearm, maybe you need to feel it more into your hands. I'm trying to feel like my logo of the glove here, as I'm trying to get that to point more at the sky. As you notice, if I'm trying to get adding those two movements right there, that's really getting me to shallow the golf club a ton. So what I want you to do is, I actually want you to hit some shots. I know I got a driver in my hand, maybe go ahead and grab a 7-iron, tee the ball up, and hit some shots just with your leading arm, for me, left arm, and get this feel early on the downswing. Now, in order for you to hit this pretty good, you gotta get your body still moving, so you still wanna rotate out of the way, and it's important to get onto a good finish. So now that we got our lead arm working, let's talk about this trail arm. Remember, that's the most common move that we see when getting too steep in initial move in the downswing. So in our trail arm here, the feeling I want you to get is like you're trying to place a tray of food down on a table. So you notice this here, I'm getting more extension in my right hand here, almost like if I had a tray of food. So if I'm holding this club like this, pretty flat, you can see how shallow that is. But also, when we're trying to place it down, notice how it's kind of dropping me in plane. You ever heard the term like dropping the slot? So it's not, if I'm getting this feeling, it's almost impossible for me to push my hand out this way. I'll dump all that food out. So we want to get down and place the tray of food down on the table. Now, if we marry those two things, you can see I'm really shallow in the golf club. And again, I want you to hit 5 solid shots with just your right arm now, where you're getting that feeling of shallowing the club early. Remember to make sure that you rotate that still your body and come on to a good finish where my belt buckle and my chest are facing the target. All right, so now that we just got you shallowing the club early in the downswing, which is key. Now with that, the one thing I don't want you to do is, especially for you that guys who are struggling coming over the top, I don't want you to get your hands and start really swinging way out here to the right. Again, another common thing that I see, you know, it's not gonna really lead, you might hit some really crazy blocks out there to the right. So the thing to remember is that we still want our hands to still releasing left on the same rotation of my body, but the club head, I want you to feel that club head releasing out there to the right. Especially, this is gonna help you guys a ton who are coming over the top. So again, what that looks like, I'm shallowing the club early now. I'm rotating, my hands are still rotating to the left, but I'm releasing that club, what I would feel is out here to the right in front of me. So as you can see now, if you look at her after video, you're gonna see that she's definitely shallowing the club early. That button club is pointed outside that golf ball, getting her really on plane. And for her, she got her path pretty square and hitting these really, really consistent shots. All right, guys, so now we got you really shallowing the golf club early in downswing. But then what's happening next is that we need to understand what's happening with this club face. And that's what Clay's gonna talk about here next. It's gonna be the preview of my favorite drill, the tennis racket drill. And what that video is gonna show you is how we can now get that club face to square up at impact after we've shallowed out. So best of luck working on that, guys. Have fun as always, and play well.
Player problems. We're going to talk about shallowing that club shaft out as we're starting down, as we're doing this rotating of the face that we worked on in the last video. As we start this downswing, what you'll see with basically all of the top players is, instead of coming kind of over the top and letting the hands come out away from their body, letting the club come out away from their body, again coming down steep into the ball and then having to open up, kind of fillet open the face and add loft to it, the flattening of the shaft should happen as soon as we start down. So as we start this downswing, what we want to have happening here, you can imagine that if I draw a line from the hosel of my club up through my right elbow, that's my swing plane line, my elbow plane. As I go to the top of the swing, I'm going to be slightly above that. And then as I start down, I want my hands to start to shallow out. I want the club to shallow out inside of this elbow plane. And at the same time,